Hello everyone, my name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music from games I've never played or heard about. As a musician myself, today I will be continuing my NieR Replicant or Gestalt journey. This is Hills of Radiant Winds. This is requested by Bunny Tails. Well, I'm going to be playing this game tomorrow as I'm recording this, so that should be quite fun. I played Automata about a month ago or so, and I kind of fell in love with that game. I discovered it because of the music, and I'm playing Replicant also because of the music. And so far, from what I've heard, Replicant is pretty unique, quite different from Automata. And from what most people tell me is that they prefer, of course, subjective, but they prefer the soundtrack to Replicant, but prefer the gameplay to Automata. Either way, this is a song I haven't even heard about, Hills of Radiant Winds. This is not something that I get requested. So here we go. It's a little bit on the shorter side. This is Keiichi Okabe, Hills of Radiant Winds. Oh, this is different. Piano. There's not a lot of piano in here. Emmy though. Piano playing the chords, and then the lead. There's a lot of piano in this song. Oh, there it is. And the violin too. Before I started these reactions today I'd heard nothing but NieR Replicant stuff. I kind of went into it going with a mentality of, well, it's going to be like Automata, but more of it. And while that's true, I don't really feel that anymore. I feel that this soundtrack is quite different from Automata. It is sprinkled in the NieR flavor with Emmy and the, just that atmosphere. But I feel in Automata, a lot of the songs, and this is not a bad thing, a lot of the songs can blend together. Like, almost as if, in some weird way, a giant song one giant song. If you took out all the stops and just, you know, if they were just all like one gigantic movement, that's how Automata feels, if that makes any sense. With the exception of the Adam boss fight and maybe like one or two more. But maybe not. Maybe that could fit there too. Anyways, with Replicant, I feel that a lot of the tracks are individualized, which is quite striking because it's the same composer. And I'm not sure if I've heard any of the remastered ones from Replicant. But what I'm saying is that they have their own characteristics while still sounding like NieR. And the reason I say that is because within the first 5 seconds of hearing this, I'm hearing the major key and one of the happier sounding songs of the whole series. There's been traces of just kind of like, you know, uplifting stuff, but this is one of the more uplifting stuff, while still somewhat sounding somber. There's piano in this one. There's not a lot of piano used, and this one had a lot of it, playing the chords, playing the arpeggiated chords. But this one had more of a feel to it. Not so much a scenery, but a feel to it. And that feel to me was, well, actually, I lied, a little bit of a scenery. The scenery I got, actually, was pretty close to what the title says, Hills of Radiant Winds. I kept thinking of like a field. Maybe too bright for this game, but I kept thinking of like sunflowers and just like, you know, just like a really lush open field. It sounded very adventure and open. You know, no real like mountains in the horizon, just kind of just like a big plain. And it also kind of went with the music and the kind of the vocal style as well. It had like slight hints of like a yodel, which again also reminds me of like that scenery. So it stood out. It stood out amongst Replicant. It stood out amongst NieR. To me, this is one of the most experimental songs in the game, but also I'm starting to get like that feeling as a whole for Replicant, is that it's an experimental, more experimental than Automata was. And that's not to take away from Automata. I love Automata soundtrack. But I'm noticing there's like this distinctive flavor on each one of these. This one was really, dare I say, happy. And NieR and happy are almost words that don't collide often. But it sounded that way. The overwhelming feeling that I got for this was both the scenery of like, you know, lush open field, but also memory. It felt very memory, flashback, maybe talking dialogue here. Or could very well possibly be just like walking around the world. Definitely no battle feel here, no boss feel. It just seemed like probably one of the few uplifting parts in a game that I don't know about, but I'm going to assume that this game is just as dark as its sequel. So yeah, you know, I keep going into these like, okay, well, surely it's going to sound like this one, but no. I really don't know what to expect with NieR Replicant music, and this one is no different. This might be one of the most standout ones in the whole series, and it's shorter too, which could mean it loops a lot, which could also go with the whole like open world thing, just walking around. But yeah, no, it's definitely, even for Emmy, you know, I usually hear her kind of like almost in pain, and this one she just kind of, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say here, but it's something along the lines of, it sounded just a little more positive than 90% of the soundtrack that I've heard in both games, which makes it that much more of a curious track. Like, where could this go? Because I've seen maybe 2 screenshots of this game to avoid spoilers, and both of them have been very dark. Snow-filled and dark. So everything I've been saying has been the polar opposite as far as scenery and feel. So this will be another one I'm going to look forward to when I play it, but it's a little out there. I liked it, but I guess I just wasn't expecting today to be so caught off guard multiple times a day. It happens. But it's just been kind of like, I feel like I've been bouncing off walls all day with NieR Replicant. And again, I want to reiterate that I see why people may prefer this soundtrack over Automata, because it is very individualized. That's all I can say right now. So we'll see what happens when I play it. Cheap plug. Twitch.tv, hey Uncle Jesse. It's just where I'll be playing it. So thank you, Bunny Tails, for that, and to the NieR fans for introducing me to this game. Hills of Radiant Winds. Okay. One of my favorite adjectives, by the way, radiant. Side note. Anyways, if you want to make a request, you could do so on Patreon or PayPal. Either are totally fine. Those are guaranteed ways I will check out your song if you don't mind waiting in a gigantic waitlist. If you do not want to wait, there is the Platinum Trophy tier on Patreon. And Aiden, Justin, Kevin, Mushimari, the BRM, Your Average Metalhead, and DJ Singletone are a part of that, supporting me. Thank you. Thanks to all the supporters that you see. Thanks to you for watching. And I will see you on Twitch. I will see you here, and I will see you in the next video. I'm going to miss reacting to NieR music, but it's for a good cause, and it's convinced me to play it. So that's a big honor, because I don't do that. I've only done that 3 times. So, until next time, dudes and dudettes, my name is Jesse. This has been the Auditorium. I hope you have a nice night. You look radiant. Peace.